Hi, everybody. I am Altoria Naylor here at Illinois Media School, and I am here with actor, producer, author, host, life coach, Simeon Henderson. How are you, Mr. Henderson?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am great, and it is good to have you here. I want to jump right into it, and let's get started. What got you started in the industry?
Yeah, I kind of fell into it. I played a little professional football, and because of some injuries, I kept getting held back. And because of my personality, I started doing a little bit of modeling. And I was doing a show, and a guy came up to me and said, "Man, I love your personality. You'd be great to host my show." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." And lo and behold, he had a show. I hosted the show, and from there, the rest was history. I started getting auditions. I started taking classes, and I loved the industry, so I just went into it, fell into it face first.
What drives you to keep going in the industry? Because it comes with a lot.
Well, what drives me is that I never wanted to be famous. I don't want to be famous. I'm in it because I love people, and I believe that as an actor, we do things that people get counseling for. You know, different situations that people go through, ups and downs, and I've even acted in roles where I was going through something that the character was going through, and then when it came to hosting my TV show or working for WCIU, everything had to do with people, and I love making people smile and making them happy and just giving them motivation and insight to be better. So what drives me is that constant gratification of helping others.
So, what would you say has been your favorite project that you worked on?
One of my favorite would have been when I toured with Tyler Perry. That was the first time I was engulfed in the work. Like I was traveling and touring. Like that's all I was doing, nothing else. So it was one of those things. It was a great experience, and I got to fully live the business, and that's all I was doing. You know, going to rehearsals, eating, going to sleep, picking up, going to rehearsals, going to shows. So it was one of those things where I was involved in it, and I got the opportunity to just live in that. So that was one of them. That was the first. But there's been a lot, but that was the first.
Speaking of a lot of your projects, you are an author. You have the book Through the Eyes of a Man. Tell me a little bit about that and what inspired you to write it.
Growing up, I grew up on the west side of Chicago, and I was always outgoing, a good athlete, but I wasn't the smartest kid. And I couldn't read until the 6th grade. And I was determined not to let someone's opinion become my reality. My mom always taught me that you have the final say in who you are and what you can and cannot do. And I was always told what I couldn't do. And when I wrote this book, I just wanted to share my story because everyone has a story. But I wanted to share my story to encourage someone that might have gone through a setback or felt they wasn't good enough. And not only that, I went through a lot of things as a kid that people don't even know about unless they read a book. I went through abuse and bullying and things like that. So I just wanted to share my story, and now I have another book, and it's actually a challenge. It's called The Challenge, 30-Day Refocus Challenge, where it's just, encouraging people to walk in their purpose and giving them a reminder every day of something that they can do to stay on track. So,
what was the biggest impact, if any, that being from Chicago has had on your career?
Oh, wow. Being a real person. One thing about Chicago, when I lived in LA, when I've gone out of the country, everywhere I go, people love Chicago because we know how to interact with people. We know how to adapt. And being from Chicago, I got the best of both worlds, being from that tough part of the city and being able to be an athlete and also being in school. And it's one of those things where the diversity is what really helped me, and that's what helped me get along. When I'm in LA, everybody say, "Oh man, we can tell you're not from here," because I'm outgoing and fun-loving and caring. So being from Chicago has helped me big time with my goals and in my
seems that you have had such a great and long career. What would you say has been the biggest highlight for you?
You know, the biggest highlight for me was when one of them was when I got recognized in the Ebony magazine for being a father, a single dad, as well as as an actor, and being able to tell my story and being able to show that there are men out there like myself who step up to the plate and take care of their responsibility and raising, my son to be a man, and he's in college now, and just being able to, that was one of the biggest things. And then a lot of the recognitions I've gotten, my book won best book, in a Black Ensemble, Black Alliance, and just being honored is some of the biggest things that I take to heart, because that shows me that I'm on the right path. Because a lot of times we're on that path and we wonder if we're doing the right thing. We wonder if people are getting it. We wonder if people are helping, or we're helping people. And when you get recognized for it, it's a humbling, for me, it's an honor and humbling experience, because that means that your work is not in vain.
What or who inspires you the most, seeing that you are? Would you say that your son inspires you the most?
My mom.
Your mom?
My mom is in heaven. And my mom, because when my mom and my dad split, my mom, she did everything. She did everything. And then I lost my dad at an early age. So my mom did everything. I mean, we didn't have everything, but we always had enough. We were always clean. We were always fed. We were always loved. And she always taught us how to be upstanding young men, and my sister, a young woman, and just, always have faith. And I think that she inspired me so much, because everything I do is led by faith, and I tell people all the time, because people hear the word faith and they get spiritual and spooky and they don't want to admit it. So I say, take out the spirituality and the religious aspect and look at the definition. Faith is the substance of things hoped, evidence of things not seen. How many times have you hoped for something and you didn't have it? You couldn't touch it, but you still wanted it. And when you got it, you were happy. That's faith. So that right there, those principles that were taught, from my mom, is the things that push me.
Definitely. So if you could give your younger self advice, what advice would you give your younger self?
Boy, keep that thing in your pants. Don't ever invite me to an interview if you don't want the truth.
I want the truth. That's why I asked it.
So all these cameras around here, and whoever watching this interview, you cannot say that Simeon doesn't tell the truth. And the reason I say that is it's one of those things where, as a young man, you start to grow and you start to get curious, and your hormones start raging, and you want to know, why do I feel like this? Why do I want this? Why am I doing this? And I'm not just talking about sex. I'm just talking about these different changes your body goes through, not only your body but your mind. But I was always still focused. I didn't have kids at an early age and things like that. So I thank God that my mom and my dad and my uncles taught me. But when I say, just there were times I would tell my younger self to stay focused. And I tell our young guys now, I say, hey man, if you're an athlete, if she can't come with you to the basketball court and get rebounds for you, you don't need her. I would tell the young ladies, if he's going to stop you from doing your work, you don't need him. Because what'll happen is you'll get with a dummy, and then eventually you'll become a dummy, and y'all have some kids, y'all can name them Little Dum Dums. Right? So what you have to do is remember who you are, right? And stand to your principles, and you make people conform to you. Don't let them change you. And I would tell myself, always stay, and I did a good job. There were some things that I missed, and I would tell you. So yeah.
I love that by far. So, what advice would you give any newcomers who want to get into the industry or are trying to break into any part of the industry?
Stay the course. Don't do it when you come into this. Don't come into this industry because you want to be famous. Don't come into this industry because you want to be seen. Don't come into this industry for that, for money. Come into this industry because it's something that you're passionate about, something that you love, and something that you really, really want to do. Because we've seen people come and go. It's because they see it. I can't tell you how many times people say, oh, I can do that, I can do that. And you're like, it's not that easy. I had to learn how to read that teleprompter, right? I had to learn how to ask questions. I had to learn how to flow. You know, I have the natural ability. And now you take the natural ability and you put that together with the nuts and bolts that's needed to hold up the building, the brick and mortar, right? And then you become art. So stay the course. That's what you want. Don't give up. You know, like I said, my thing is be symbolic, which means simply your best. No one can be the best, right? You can always offer something. You bring something special to the table and know how to be a team player because there's power in partnership. You're doing the interview. She's executive producing the interview. He's recording the interview. Somebody set those lights up. There's all working parts that make this thing click, and everybody is important. And when you know that, you treat people like that, that's when success comes.
Definitely. I like that what you said, being the best you, because that's been my biggest thing. Focusing from last year to this year, I want to become the best possible version of myself.
Yes.
That's definitely.
And who are you? Exactly. You're Altoria.
Definitely. Are there any new projects that you're working on that you're excited about?
Oh, girl, yes. My project Roman is almost done. It has some great actors in it. I produced it along with the writers Alvern Ball and Aaron Lewis and my executive producer Giovanni Anandi and all the talented people involved. Antoine McKay, if you watched the show Empire, he was Bunky. Edward Williams III, Frederick Williams. I mean, there's just a host of awesome talent and people attached to it. My line producer, my producer, Rochelle, Cowan, all the people that helped bring this thing together is super dope. And I can't wait for it to come out. And I just did a project I'm working on over in the Caribbean called Choco, and I'm the only American actor in it, and I'm co-starring in it with Aina Igwe. He's this huge actor in Africa. So it's just, those things coming up in my show and my book. So there's a lot of things that I'm working on that I can't wait for people to hold up.
Definitely. I'm so excited. Some of that come to light. So before we end this interview, what would you end it on, like words of wisdom? What would you tell the people watching?
Let me tell you this. You are the author and finisher of your fate. It begins with you and it ends with you. Whatever it is that you want to do, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because there's going to be hurdles, there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be roadblocks. But like I always say, no one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. No matter how it looks, no matter how it feels, no matter how it sounds, you have to dig deep and stop talking yourself out of walking in your purpose. Get out of your feelings. It's not about a feeling, because we're not going to feel like doing everything we're supposed to do. If it was easy, what? Everybody would be doing it. So I just want people to understand and know that not second guess themselves, and if you need help, don't be scared to ask for help. And always remember that there's power in partnership. There's nothing wrong with getting help and gleaning from someone else and getting nuggets that you need to be successful. Stay humble. Don't be proud. And just be the best.
Thank you so much for doing this interview. It has been a pleasure. I loved it, every moment of it, and I appreciate you being here with us. So thank you so much.